5 years old, I had a dog named Goliath. One day, my mother turns to me with tears in her eyes and informs me that Goliath had been run over by a bus. I remember looking at her, thinking to myself, so what? It's just a dog. But my mother was sad, and I couldn't figure out why. I then began to notice that other people got sad when something died. It seemed very strange to me. Crying isn't going to change the fact that it's dead. So why bother crying? And then I realized that other people didn't share my amazing insights into the nature of reality. As we advance into the 21st century, scientific progress brings fresh twists to the age-old philosophical questions, such as, what does it mean to be human? Is there any value in humanity? Or are we accidents of random chance? Science, philosophy, religion all seem to have different methodologies to answering these questions, which answers that seem to be inconsistent, and yet each have value in their own right. Festinger's cognitive dissonance theory states that an individual will seek to find consistency in their cognitions. Dissonance arises when one is unable to rationalize a consistent set of behavior out of conflicting cognitions. The truth is, we're all slightly inconsistent in our beliefs, and transformation can only come when we're able to recognize the disparity in our beliefs and seek to find true reconciliation. The Conversion of a Sociopath, a true story by David Wood. A few years after that, I began to realize that it was cats and dogs that actually controlled the planet. Whenever one would be looking at me, I was thinking that it would silently be bragging about how much smarter it was than humans. So I spent a fair portion of my childhood staring right back at it and going, I know what's going on. I'm on to you. 2 years later, my best friend from elementary school, Jimmy, died. Jimmy had always wanted to go parasailing. When he finally got the chance, his harness broke. He plummeted to his death. And when I found out the news after knocking on his door, my reaction was the same as before, namely, so what? But this time something was different. It seemed like I should be sad. So I began to wonder if something was wrong with me. After months of pondering this, I came to the conclusion that I was an evolutionarily advanced human being, the prime of my species. See, all these sad little emotions the rest of you experience are just vestigial tales left over from previous life forms. But humanity 2.0 had now arrived, so you earlier models are obsolete. Why should I be so courteous? To cry? Because I've been brainwashed, that's why. Yes, society had been manipulating my behavior all along. Like greatness had been polluted by this mediocrity. You see, the world has us all on a leash. And it's a leash filled with rules of do's and don'ts. But that leash comes off the moment that you realize you don't have to do anything anyone tells you to do. In fact, if you truly want to break free from society's strangleholds, then it seems like you have to do the opposite of what you've been told. Anyone can kill a bunch of random people, you don't know them. No, if you're tired of dangling at the end of society's strings, then the killing has to start much closer to home. My dad was the only one I had within a few hundred miles, so he obviously needed to die, and I had a ball pit hammer that would do the trick. I remember walking into his room, 2 a.m. on Thanksgiving morning, standing over his bed as he slept, and standing there, looking at him, trying to think of a single wrong thing he had ever done to me in my life. I couldn't think of anything. So I drew back my arm and came down on him with 250 pounds. I didn't know how much blood could come out of a human skull. I kept hitting him until I was sure he was dead. And then I got into my car, and I drove away. I didn't feel anything. I was proud of the fact that I didn't care. But I made a huge blunder when my bloodbath began. I underestimated the amount of damage a human skull could endure. My dad survived the attack. I was sent to a mental hospital and later to jail. And when in jail, when you don't have all of the normal, empty, repetitive tasks that keep you mentally sedated, you have time to think about what's most important to you in life. What was most important to me was not being held captive by a society full of people of whom I had nothing but contempt. I had a list, going back to kindergarten, of people that I wanted to brutally murder. When a man's an empty kettle, should be on his metal, and yet I'm torn apart. Just because I'm presuming that I could be kind of human if I only had a heart. When I was in E Block, I met a guy named Randy, a Christian fellow. Turned himself in for committing 21 felonies. Who does this? So of course I would point the finger, I'd mock, I'd laugh at Randy, but Randy was different. You see, he wasn't like those other Christians that I'd spoken with. He would fight back, and things that made total sense to me when unquestioned made no sense when questioned by Randy. So I became so frustrated with our arguments, I found other ways to defeat Randy. We entered into the world's first ever fasting battle. Randy would go a few days without eating, and I'd go a few days more. One time Randy turns to me and says, he's going to go 40 days without eating. He said, that's what Jesus did. So I said, okay, I'll go 42. I was going to beat Randy and Jesus. On the 11th day, I passed out. Hit my head on the stairs going down, and the medical staff, which knew my history, thought I was trying to kill myself. So they had me pack up my things and sent me to a new mental hospital where I could sit in a single cell and be watched 24/7. I began to lose my mind. But I found a renewed purpose in my lonely library cell. You see, with nothing but time on my hands, I could read and study and put together new arguments to go back to E Block and destroy the faith of my foolish Christian friend. But a problem emerged in my studies. You see, I began to realize I had these two beliefs that just didn't seem to go together. On the one hand, I would tell Randy that he was a human, nothing more than a meaningless clump of cells in a cosmically indifferent universe. But then on the other, I would tell him that I was the most important human, the prime of my species. How can you be the most important, worthless clump of cells? He would press me if there was going to be a most important. That would seem to mean there was a real good, and that would require a God, and that would make someone like Jesus better than me. My beliefs were beginning to crumble at the foundational point, and when they crumble there, everything else comes down on top of it. I went from thinking that I was the best person in the world to thinking I was the worst. There was nothing I could do. There wasn't some magic switch I could flip, and then all of a sudden, oh, now I care about other people. Either I was stuck in this helpless state, or there was someone that could change me. So for the first time, I bowed down on my bunk and I prayed. I didn't know how to pray, and I had never prayed before. But I just prayed. I said, God, I don't know if I'm going to believe in you tomorrow, but I believe in you now. If there's anything you can do with me, you're welcome to it. And when I stood up from that prayer, everything seemed different. Almost like the whole world was a new color. For the first time in so many years, I didn't want to hurt anyone anymore. And somehow I had this strange sense that I'd known the truth all along.